Good evening. Going to get started here pretty quick with Spry. I've got Spry and I've got Ellie tonight. So we're going to get double dogs. We're going to get, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to talk a little bit about this past weekend. We had a workshop this weekend. It went really well. Jeff Trudell, welcome Jeff. Coming off of what I think is probably our best workshop ever. Just from a standpoint of sit. I've got Spry out. She had a chance to go to the bathroom. So I just took her collar off. Good evening. Aaron Garlock joined in. Aaron was with us this last weekend. Justin Jones is in. Matt Green, Mike Schulte, April. Welcome, April. I'm going to spin this around my little scooter here. She really wants to scoot on me tonight. So, yeah, right on time, Aaron. I told you, first time for everything. I'm again getting practice in, getting my training session in between life, I guess you could say. We are in the church parking lot where my kid is practicing basketball at this school tonight. So I knew that was happening. I knew I was bringing him down here. So I brought the dogs. I had the dogs that work with me all day. Brought my training bag, brought my stuff this time. Actually brought my stuff. James, welcome from Florida. Dan McDaniel, hey Dan, how you doing? Eric is in. Robin Ruby, good evening. Missy Ferguson, how are you, Missy? It's been a while since we have done these, so good to see you guys. So Spry's back. Spry's really growing up, and she's teething right now. But anyway, so one of the things before I get totally sidetracked, Josh, welcome Josh. Before I get totally sidetracked, this weekend we did a workshop that went awesome. When I say it was one of the best, I think it was a group that we had dogs that seemingly were much further ahead than I'm used to. And I think one of the things that was interesting that came up in our conversation, no, sit. One of the things that came up in our conversation was, why are these dogs where they are? Why is this group so seemingly so far, I guess, or far along? No. You can see this little dog wants to carry stuff. I don't want to tell her no when she's picking stuff up and I'm taking it from her. So you got to be careful of that, but she's really in a mood to mouth things. She likes to keep things in her mouth. I'm finding her picking stuff up constantly and making little retrieves out of them. I'm not encouraging it. Drop my phone. Gotcha. Sit. I'm not encouraging that right now because I don't want to form bad habits. And I had someone ask a question, and I'm going to answer it right now. I don't know if they're watching or not, but someone asked a question. I'll answer it. I'll type it back in later. But someone said, why don't you retrieve when they're teething? The reason I don't retrieve when they're teething is I don't want to form bad habits. Hey, Craig Korf joined in. Welcome, Craig. Nicole Larson's in. Rhett Hall. Christopher from Buffalo, Minnesota. Welcome, guys. Nicole, Joe, welcome. The reason I don't want to do that is because you can see she's just really mouthy. She's gotten into a habit here since she started teething of she wants to chew on some stuff. She wants to, I think her mouth is sore. I'm going to try to show you here. She hasn't lost these little canines yet, but there she popped that one out today. So you can see this tooth was there this morning. That's out. So that's sore. Red, bloody. Ugh. So I feel bad for her. I'm giving her some ice cubes. But I don't want to retrieve with her because I think what I'm going to have a tendency to do is I'm going to have a dog that either wants to spit it out and pick it up. I think she's going to want to spit it out and pick it up, or she's going to want to lay down and chew on it. And that's one thing I just don't want. So you can see she's chewy. She wants to chew on stuff. She doesn't chew much. Now tonight I'm going to put this on. And the reason I'm going to put this on tonight is because I have not put a slip chain on her yet. I haven't had to. She's been extremely responsive with just a flat collar. But what I wanted to do is put it on just to show you guys. I like slip chains. People call them, she wants to chew the fold. People want to call them choke chains, and they're not. Not if you put them on the right way. So what I want to do is show that, and I'll talk about it in a little bit, but we've shown it before. Sit. Now you can see once the lead goes on, she really changes. She seems to be much more in tune with me. I think she feels me through the leash, which is part of what we talked a lot about this weekend. So tonight what we're going to do is we started off, so we're probably 5, 6, 7 minutes into this. And the reason we did it that way is when she came out, I let her go to the bathroom, and now I'm just making her be patient and just wait. And one of the things, this is part of our training tonight, is just when you guys get out and go start working with the dogs, if your routine is let them out of the crate, go do some hopefully fun things that they enjoy, and then you put them back up. I think what happens is they come out of the gate just wired to go, wired to run. And 99% of the time in life, we're not running. We're just doing nothing. We're just sitting. And we saw it this weekend at the workshop. A lot of people had dogs that had a really hard time when we stopped moving. As soon as we stopped moving and we asked them to just sit and wait for us, they really got antsy. They got fussy. They really tested their owners. We had a couple where they threw a little bit of a tantrum. So what we practice all day long is this puppy just having to sit and kind of just wait until we're going to do something. We're going to do something. But she had to sit here, and when she got a little bit fussy there and was starting to bite on stuff and do what I wasn't really looking for, I took it up a level as far as control. I just put a slip lead on her. Now I'm using that slip chain because I'm gonna try something different tonight. We did this here last week. We went live here in this parking lot before. I like these lines because they're gonna actually help me stay square. I'm gonna do squares. I'm gonna walk in squares with her. I'm working on her turns. I'm gonna start with her turns to the right, which are easier for her, and then I'm gonna start turning into her and start trying to get a little bit more dialed in with her feet. These are things that we did a lot of at the workshop. I think it made a huge difference with people that were there. So we're gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna see what kind of difference I get tonight with this little slip. And I'll show you this. It's really important that you put them on the right way. But I'm going to show you that in a little bit. But see how loose it is. There's not any pressure to her neck. But if I want to, I can correct it. But see how it released? That little bit of, come on, that little bit of touch to her. She's very sensitive. She doesn't need a slip. I'm putting it on tonight just so you can see it. So let me see if I can get going here. I've got the little tripod with me tonight too, so I'm going to show you. But one of the things I'm going to work on, you can kind of see as I move into heel position. Now she's on my left hand side. This is my left hand. Again, when I flip the phone around and reverse it, it's going to look backwards. It's going to look completely backwards. It's going to look like I'm saying left and it's actually right. It's not. It's the opposite. So keep that in mind. I have to remind everybody because it looks crazy how backwards it is. But do me a favor while this is running too, guys. Go ahead and feel free to share it. This is where you need to share it to someone you think this might help. The idea of it being live, our routine as we go through, we do some training stuff, then we get done and we have a chance to answer some questions. So Lyle joined in, Jason Erickson joined in, Jael and Richard, Joe McAllister, Dan enjoyed the workshops. I'm glad, Dan. I wish we had you at that one too. Steph joined in. Steph's on the road this week. That's why we're down here dropping off basketball players. And Schumacher, and welcome Schumacher. Carol Myers is in loose lead. She's got the whole term down. So Carol was with us this last weekend as well and heard my broken recordness. So Taylor's with Steph tonight, and Mike. Welcome, Mike. So here we go. I'm actually going to hold this for a little bit, then I'm going to set it up on this tripod. And here's another thing. So I've been kind of ramping up to go here for a little bit, and now I decided, she kind of got excited, she kind of get ready to go. I'm just going to move this so it's set up a little bit better. But I think she anticipated us moving and going, so I'm going to have her understand a little bit more patience. Just a little bit, gotta wait a little bit more before we're gonna do anything. I build patience in all the time. I want to get whatever it is she's decided to pick up here in the parking lot out of her mouth so she can focus. Clearly I didn't get it. What do you got here? Okay. So now we're to the point where we're gonna start. So I'm always gonna start with her name. Now this is hard to do, guys, when you're trying to film it. I don't recommend you trying to film it. The hands are all over the place. I'm trying to hold on to a phone. I'm super distracted. She knows I'm not talking to her. So this makes it a lot harder, but it's impossible for you to see it if we don't do it this way. So we're going to start out. I'm going to heel her on a straight line. I'm going to go down, and then I'm going to make a turn on that yellow line, and we're going to start making right-handed turns, which are easier for her. And then we're going to go to left-handed turns, which are a little harder. And we're going to ask her to coordinate a little bit more and focus a little bit more and make her feet work a little bit sharper for me. This is the first time I've put a slip chain on her. So I'm going to see how the response is, and if it becomes too much, I'll just take it off and I'll put the flat lead back on. Spry, heel. And you got to remember, we're going to set the pace. So if she decides that she wants to go a little slow, I'm going to speed up. If she gets to be a point where she wants to get a little bit too fast, I'm going to either slow down or I'm going to change directions. We're going to talk a little bit about reverse heel. I don't think we've done it much with her yet on camera. We've been doing it, but just not a lot on camera. You'll notice how loose the lead is. Right, Carol? Loose lead, loose lead, loose lead. I preach loose lead all the time because I don't want this thing to be a steering wheel. See how my dog locks up as soon as I put pressure on it? This weekend, the biggest thing I think was a struggle for a lot of people was the idea of a loose lead. And you're going to see the loose lead. Now I'm going to turn, head back. You're going to see the loose lead when I put this thing on a tripod. So right now, it's arced down and it's making like a J coming back up because it's so loose. Now I'm going to stop. Another thing I'm going to work on tonight is stopping to the whistle. She's in a habit of me stopping and sitting. That's come from us stopping and telling her to sit over and over and over. Spry, heel. And every time I stop, I tell her to sit. It just becomes a habit. Heel. So now that it's a habit, I'm going to start adding in a little bit of whistle to it to make the power of the whistle become that trigger for that sit, because someday we're going to stop this dog on a whistle. Someday we're going to handle this dog and we're going to have to get their attention with the whistle. Spry, heel. Good, heel. Now I'm going to spin this around and hope that you guys, yeah, it's a little bit windy out. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to walk out on a straight line. Now I want you to watch for where the leash is. I want you to notice the loose lead. If you're walking around and you're just dragging your dog by the lead, steering them with it like a steering wheel, the problem with it is, well, it's a couple things. They don't understand. The point of this is to turn pressure on and then turn it off. Turn it on, turn it off. They get out of position, we correct them. As soon as they're in position, I turn the correction off. That's why this chain is so nice. It's real sharp and crisp and fast. But if you're constantly like this, I'm going to get out a little bit. If you're constantly like this, it becomes, see how she just naturally, I put that pressure on, what did she do? She spun around into position right away thinking this will turn it off. That's what I want. So she's learning that when she gets a little bit of discomfort to her neck, the best way to turn that off is to get back into position. That's good. I want her to do that. The problem is a lot of us get in a habit of either we don't trust our dog, we don't have that feel with them, we are constantly feeling tension on them. The problem is that puts pressure on all the time. It becomes numb. They become numb to it. So I used this analogy a lot this weekend because this is a huge hurdle for a lot of people. Was, let's say your pressure is 0 to 10 or 1 to 10. 1 is light, 10 is a lot, and 10 is what you need in order to get a correction. And that is a sliding scale. So 10 might be this much this time, 10 might be this much later, 10 might be this much later. It just depends. But on a scale of 1 to 10 pressure-wise to get results, 10 gets the result, 1 is extremely light, okay? Not enough to get your result. So if you're holding them like this, like I have her right now, that's a 6. She's at a 6 right now. So in order to get a change, I have to go either from 0 to 10 to get the change. Well, if you're starting at 6, that means you have to go to 16 to get the change, which is a lot more pressure than what it should take, because she's become used to this much, which is 6. 6 is her 0. I can't have 6 be 0 because I have to put way too much on. I want ultimately to be no leads. I don't want to use leads. I don't want to use leashes. I don't want to use collars. I don't want to use anything. That's our goal. Nothing. Just feel of airspace. And we're going to use Ellie next, and we'll show you. I hardly ever put her on a lead anymore because we worked so hard to get there. But with her, you're putting constant pressure on. You're walking around at a 6 all the time. You got to get way up higher than you need to. So the problem that people had this weekend was building. First off, their dogs didn't understand to turn the pressure off. I get into the heel zone. Heel was just a big struggle for some. So it's going to help them greatly by getting that stuff fixed first. So when I put pressure on her, she swung around into heel position. I turned the pressure off immediately. This little slip chain is good for that. It's real crisp, it's real sharp. But watch the lead. Now it's reversed. This is my left side. Doesn't look like it, but I promise you, my wedding ring, it's my left side. I'm going to heel her out and I'm going to heel her back, just like I just did. Now watch the lead, how loose it is, and watch how little I have to correct her. This weekend we were counting corrections, and the less corrections we got, the better we were making a little bit of progress, a little bit of progress, a little progress. So just keep an eye on the lead with her. Spry, heel. There I incorporated just a peep of a whistle. Before I wasn't peeping the whistle. You guys saw she sat no matter what. Spry, heel. When I stop, she sits. When I stop, she sits. When I sit, because we've done it so many times now, it's become a habit. So tonight, we're going to start incorporating the whistle into it. We're going to, instead of stopping, and I used to say sit. Now I don't have to say sit anymore. She just sits. It's become a habit. We've been real repetitious. Now I'm going to incorporate a peep of a whistle. So, but so there's a couple things we've got going now. We're working on a loose lead for our heel. I'm going to stop and peep the whistle. I'm going to make a few turns to the right in 180 degrees. Then I'm going to go to these squares after, but just keep an eye on the lead. Keep an eye on her. The other thing I want to watch for is her eyes. She's got real nice eyes, and she checks with me. We struggled with that this weekend. We had a lot of people where the eyes of their dogs were all over except for them. And by the end of the weekend, we spent so much time on lead work, heel work, connection, trust, building this feel between us and our dogs. By the end of the weekend, I will say this, I think everyone at our workshop this weekend left with better eyes than they came, for sure. So that's a real strong sign that we're moving in the right direction. So I'm going to heel her, I'm going to reverse, and I'm going to go straight out and straight back. Keep an eye on that loose lead. Spry, heel. Got a little eyes from her before I move. Now she's legs, I'm going to get her to me. Come on. Tricked her a little. Come on. See how she's really naturally turning with me? She's kind of like a little magnet right down to my hip. That's perfect. She's about a half step back. I'd rather have a half step back than a half step forward. I'm fine with it right now. But one of the things with her is if she gets into her habit where she wants to go a little bit slower, like she doesn't get caught when she goes slow because things are slow and she's able to react a little bit better. If she starts slowing down on me, I'm not letting her set the pace. I'm going to pick my pace up. So when she lags, I speed up. And then she goes, oh boy, I got to keep up. So then she starts keeping up. And as soon as she sets her cruise control and thinks we're going at a certain speed, I'll slow down and check her. Just to see, are you going to react to me? She's reacting to me with that magnet thing. So it's all connected through this lead. I'm not steering her. We're not giving her one of these. Because when we do have to give a correction, which I haven't had to give her correction yet, no, so when we do, it's going to make a difference majorly. And it's not going to take much because we don't correct all the time constantly and we don't have constant pressure on. So when we do tap it a little bit, you'll see huge response out of her. I'm going to heel her back out. We're going to come back. I'm going to vary the pace. Watch the pace. Spry, heel. So there, we were able to make it down with that was the only correction I needed right there, where she faded back behind me. And the only reason I can see it is I can see the thing. So now, I'm going to change this. I'm going to move this over to here. I'm going to have a little sit. Little remote steady right here, a little remote sit. I'm going to put this right here so that you can hopefully see the lines. This isn't quite what I would like. I'd like to get 2 sections of lines, but it won't work. I'm going to put it right here so you can see, I think. A little bit better, you'll be able to see the square. Now she's chewing on that leash. I don't like that. Come on. See that little practice for a recall? Now she's chewing on my leash, which we just got done talking about her teething. She'll chew on anything right now. So that's exactly why we're not retrieving. But did you see how she had the leash in her mouth on a remote sit, right? She was sitting at least for me, but she's chewing on her leash. So as I walked up to her, she picked it up and she kind of gave me one of these little postures. Now, body language is important to her. If I come up to you in a bar like this, I don't have to say a word, and you're going to know something's about to go down because of my body language. But if I come up to you real calm, and I don't have a real intimidating look to me, you're going to react totally different to me. Well, her body language was, I'd like to go for a run. She picked this up in her mouth and I'd really like to go. So for me, the last thing I want to do is lunge at her. I'm not going to grab at that leash. She said, come on. And I recalled her. Come on. And she picked it up and she brought it to me, and then she spit it out and she finished coming to me. So I just turned that into recall. I didn't plan on it, but we did it. So now what I want to do is do these squares. So I hope you'll be able to see this. So I like this parking lot because I got these lines. It's going to really keep me square, literally. So I'm going to walk down, turn, walk down, turn, walk down, turn. And I'm going to make it easy on her. I'm going to go right-handed. Spry. Heel. Way out of the camera here. Back this up a little bit. Let's see if this is better. Right. Yep. Now, sit. Again, little remote sit for her. My left hand turn is going to be hard. My little left hand turn is going to be harder for her. This is the one that's kind of new to her, trying to get her feet and her bend of her body. Her feet, this is hard on her because look at this. When I turned into her, what ends up happening is she can't lead with her front. It just gets in the way. So what she needs to do is she needs to actually take her butt and curve it this way. So her bend needs to be this way instead of being this way. So I'm asking her to really start figuring out her feet, where her feet are actually going to backpedal and turn into me. Backpedal and turn into me. So this is the first time. I don't expect this a lot out of this. But let's see how she does with it. Heel. See how awkward that is for her? She backpedaled 3 or 4 steps, but she's having a hard time turning that way. Heel. So I'm going to help her. There. Heel. Much better. Heel. See how she's starting to figure this out, but she's really clumsy right now. She's just not sure of this coordination. So I'm really asking a lot of her to take steps backwards and bend this way instead of what she's always bent and led with her front shoulders. It's just natural to her. Every time I turn outside, she leads with her front shoulders. So watch how many steps it takes to lead with the front versus to the back. It's a much more difficult thing for her. I don't expect her to do it tonight. But when you watch Ellie, when I get Ellie out, I'll show you it with her, and she's become real efficient with it. She's she's two steps maybe, and her butt leads and her front end follows. She's like 5 steps to get back there. So we'll get there, but I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to turn right, which is real natural for her. She's going to lead with her front right shoulder. She's going to roll right around. But when I come back and I ask her to go the opposite way, she can't lead with her front left shoulder. She gets walked into. So she actually has to lead with her back end. She's got to take almost a half step back and curve it this way because we're going this way. Her front end's going to lead her back end's going to lead her front end. Spry heel. So I'm going to go right first. Okay. 3 steps it took her. See how tight she is to me, and 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, I'm facing away, and very natural. When I go back the other way now, it's awkward and clumsy, and that's what we're going to work on getting better. But if you noticed on that one, it's the first time I've had to do it, but I corrected her twice. Her nose went down on the ground, she started sniffing, and I tapped her. Tap. It wasn't very hard. Very, very good result from it, but it was just a tap, tap, tap. No, I cannot let her fade on me. Right, you. You. Watch the difference when I turn right. Three steps and she's with me. 3 steps and she's with me. When I go the opposite way, it takes about 5 and she's still not squared up and going the right direction. So that's what I need to work on with her. Now, tonight, I'm going to put her on a remote sit. I'm going to go run back to the truck. I want to grab her flat collar for this. I don't want that little slip on. But we're going to show you guys some reverse heel because she's got this tendency of chewing on that leash. So now I'm going to put her on a remote sit. You guys watch her while I get to the truck. Now the first thing I do when I come back to her, sit. I don't run right up to her. So I come back, I do this all day long. When I put her on a remote sit, I don't come rushing back up to her and praise her because it's for sure going to get her worked up. It's for sure going to get her loose. It's for sure going to get her to break off of this steadiness. So I might walk past her a couple times and see if she guesses I'm coming to her or not. Because just because I'm coming back doesn't mean it's breaking. This is why I don't, when I tell a dog to do something, I mean they got to do it. It doesn't mean they do it for a second and then they're good to go, do whatever they want. This has got to be consistent and they got to hold this through. So let me put this back on her. Now that she graduated up to a little bit bigger collar, so this is a lot looser on her. She used to have that green one on. So her steadiness, she's got to stay steady until I put the lead back on her. Now I know a lot of you guys, many of you, look at how steady she is. She doesn't even come off there. I love that. A lot of you guys, I'm going to leave her there right away. She goes back to the leash. A lot of you are running into some issues with recall. Here, the command to call the dog back to you. How many people are having issues with that? Because it's one of the big, it's another one that really was glaring this weekend. it was really interesting that any of the issues that came up this weekend at the workshop, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Most of them I could boil back down to a couple things. One of them was hold conditioning. Had a lot of dogs run off. We had a lot of dogs that were spitting bumpers. So hold conditioning was going to fix a lot of that. I don't know that there was a single dog there that had been hold conditioned. So that was to be expected, I think. The other part was recall. Couldn't get people to get their dogs to come back to them. So if you could fix those two things, man, they'd be off and running. So those are really, really common issues. So how do you fix recall? Because there's a lot of people that struggle with recall, and I hear about it when they let their dogs out to go to the bathroom and they can't get them back in. That's not the time to practice recall. That's the time that you should be executing recall. And if you can't execute recall when you let your dog out to go to the bathroom, don't let your dog out and just run to go to the bathroom. Because every time you do it, it's training. It's training the wrong thing. It's training the idea of you don't have to come when I call you. So for every time you do train them to come and they do come for you, and then you erode it with something like not coming back, it's like just taking one step forward and then one step back. So you got to take way more steps forward than back in order to get progress, right? So we have to set ourselves up, understand that we're going to run into issues at times, and if you don't have your dog recalling, put them on a lead and heel them out. If you can't put your dog on a lead yet, you better get tying your dog out so that you can start your heel work. So you got to just reverse this whole thing and find out where the problem lies. It's almost always going to be in foundation, guaranteed. So how do I practice recall? Well, go back and watch when I started this puppy. We recalled in a 6 foot square foot pen, and I just had her come to a little piece of kibble. Then we opened it up to my mudroom. Then we went to a hallway. Then we went to my kitchen. Then we went to my house. And we practiced it daily in lots of situations. When she starts to fade on me, she got a correction. So we're up to 4 corrections tonight. So, which is good. I'm fine with that. But she's got to make a mistake in order to be corrected. So in order for her to understand what she can't do, she has to do it and be corrected. So there's nothing wrong with correction. Those are opportunities to learn. But you have to understand as light as possible to get the result, and then get lighter as they form the habits the right way. But so recall happens in the house. Recall happens in your kitchen. Recall happens in my mudroom. It's getting the pup to come to me and understand there's a lot of praise for it. I even give them reward of kibble, food when they're little. But they got to understand that when they come to you, it's for a good reason. I think a lot of people get in the bad habit of they try to practice recall when the pup goes out to the bathroom, the pup doesn't come back in, so they get really pissed. And then you're hollering at the dog, and then you're screaming, "Get in here!" Who wants to come to that? So if you're practicing recall in situations where you don't have any control, you're probably taking steps backwards. So you got to fix that. Now, why do you want to get to heel work? I love heel work because I got so many things I can do from it, and it's such a good foundation for so many things I want to do in the future. Off lead, have to do them on lead first to get them perfect. But recall can happen once we start this on lead work with just a little reverse heel. I had this one guy tell me the only way to train a dog to recall is by putting a shock collar on him. I just about had to go in the parking lot with him. I didn't want to fight him, he wanted to fight me. I wasn't afraid of him. But he told me, you can't do it without a shock collar. And I said, sure can. Why would I need a shock collar to get my dog to come to me? How is that going to help the situation? He said, well, how can you do it without it? I said, reverse heel. He had no answer. No answer whatsoever. I don't even know if he knew what reverse heel was. But he had no answer because he didn't think there was an answer for it. So, we're not going to get into shock collars right now, but my blood pressure will go right through the roof. But with her, here's a little reverse heel. We showed this at the workshop, and I think a lot of people went, wow, that might work, and that's probably pretty simple. So it's an extension of my heel work. Tonight, I planned on working on heel. We did some 180s, we did a little square, we did some steadiness, we built in patience. Now I'm doing a little bit of a reverse heel. So I'm gonna walk her forward. Then I'm just gonna drop her leash and backpedal really fast and go, come on, come on, come on, come on. And I'll even bring my whistle into it now. So she's gonna start learning to come to this whistle. She's already been programmed to do this when she was little, walking around the yard, and she followed me anyway. But let me show you the reverse heel with her. Again, I'm gonna get my whistle ready. Right, heel. Now I'm gonna go away from you and do it. Still working on heel. Now, she's not real used to dragging the leash, and I think that's part of the reason why she hung up, because you know what she felt on that? When I dropped that leash and she starts dragging it, she felt a little bit of pressure. That's how light the pressure can be. Right away she wants to pick it up. That's probably another issue, that if I leave this leash dragging, she may pick it up and want to retrieve it to me. I'm not against that, but I don't necessarily want that, because she might pick it up and spit it out because her mouth hurts. But if you notice, that first one, I dropped the leash and I backpedaled away from her, and as soon as she felt the leash drag on the ground, that's not much pressure. See her respond to that? I didn't even get it tight to her. And there's the reaction. That's how light I need to tap this dog's neck to get correction. It's because I don't reef on her a lot. I get as little, I used to have to put a little more pressure on her. Now we got to remember, she's really good at this. Probably better than most pups I've had. So she sucks at retrieving, she's good at heel. So that's the balance I'm gonna have to work on with her. She just struggles with some stuff, she does some other things well. She's done well with tie outs, she hardly fought tie outs, and she does really well with pressure to the neck. She gives really easily. So the simple weight of the leash dragging on the ground was enough pressure to affect her. And so she stopped because she felt it. And I believe completely that she stopped thinking he corrected me. That's how light it was to get results. Now I had to really encourage her and get on the whistle and get excited and get her to me, and she came running. But she also looked around, and I'm sure she looked around and went, wow, that looks really good. I might want to go there. Nope, he's calling, he's whistling, beep, 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 beep. I built this up. Don't start this in your yard, guys. Start this in the mudroom, start this in the hallway, start this in a controlled spot where you don't lose control. So I'm gonna do this again. Now I am not going to, I'm actually gonna do it, I'll do it at an angle a little bit so you can see it a little bit better, I hope. But one of the things I'm gonna do is, I'm not gonna drop the lead, because I think when I drop the lead, that pressure to the neck's gonna affect it negative. So I'm gonna hold on to it, but I'm gonna heel her out, heel. Heel. Good girl, good. Heel. Heel. Good girl. Now you can see I'm not dragging her around. It's super loose. But when she came to me those last 3 times, what happened? Look at her. What did I do? I gave her a bunch of praise. Told her how good she was. If you think that your dog, your struggles with recall in situations that you don't have control, so then you get pissed and you start hollering and get over here, get over here. Then you could maybe start to chase, because I've seen this a lot, and you go outside and you go after them, and they're too big to catch, so they run away and they go, wow, this is kind of fun, he'll actually chase me, but I don't really want to go over there because he's screaming and hollering at me. Who wants to come back to that? I wouldn't. So what I want to do is I want it to be, come back to me and I'm going to praise you. If the only time you practice this is when that happens outside, or you're going to put the dog away in the kennel, and it's not, you're in a hurry, come on, get in here, go over here, come on, and then you rush him into the kennel. Who wants to hurry up to get into the kennel next time? So you got to think beyond that next moment, because these guys live in the moment. So they're connecting whatever it is you're doing, they're connecting it to that next thing, to the next thing. And if all you ever do is recall a dog and kennel him up, I wouldn't want to come every time either. So we got to think through this. So I'm going to take her, I'm going to actually take her off lead, which I don't work her off lead. I don't heel her off lead, so I don't expect a lot of heel out of this. I don't expect her heel to be good. I'd love it to. I don't expect it to, because she's never done it before. But I'm just going to walk out and I'm going to recall her off with no lead on. I'm practicing. I'm practicing. I'm going to do it 4, 5, 6 times in a row, and then I'm going to be done. And so tonight's lesson that we focused with her on was heel, on lead, in position, turning right, turning left, 180s, a little bit of squares, patience and steadiness. The whole time we've been getting that out of her. A little bit of reverse heel. Plenty of stuff for this dog. Plenty long. 4 times as long as it would need to be if I wasn't doing this live. So I'm just going to heel her out and see how she does. And as soon as she gets out beyond me, which I expect her to do, I'm going to reverse heel her. I'm going to bring her back in, reverse heel her, bring her back in. So I'm going to get reverse heel out of this. And I'm not asking her to heel, Because if I ask her to heel right now, she's not going to. We're not ready for it. So I'm not going to be real stringent on it. I'm not going to ask her to be a perfectly heeled dog off lead. She's never done it before. So that's not the point of this. The point of this is to get the recall. So I think there was a couple times this weekend. Now I love how steady she is. She's not fussing, she's not getting into rocks, she's actually paying attention, so I'm going to get going pretty quick before I lose her. But one of the things this weekend was we were doing some commands, we were doing hunt commands, and one of the issues was recall. We couldn't get dogs to come back to us. We did a circle memory, couldn't get dogs to come back to us. Now, we couldn't fix that all right then and there. That's going to take a lot of time. But one of the things that I said was, if you don't have this foundational stuff, you can't do these drills, because what will happen is when you do these drills, if the dog takes off on you, you're working on a hunt command, and all of a sudden the dog finds it and runs off and runs hot laps, and you're chasing them and hollering at them and trying to get them back, and they're dropping it and they're dropping short, running around you. All these issues come up. You lose everything with the hunt command. You did not gain anything with the hunt command, because all it turned into was a rodeo to catch your dog back. So you don't gain anything from that hunt command drill if you don't have a dog that delivers the hand. So what do you got to fix first? Not the hunt command stuff. You got to fix the delivery. You got to fix the recall. So I'm not going to turn this into a heel drill and lose on that with the hopes of gaining on a recall. I'm just going to go out and recall, go out and recall, go out and recall, so that I can get something out of it. And I'm working on recall, not working on heel. Right? Cool. Good girl. Good. Good girl. Very good. Very good. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. That's a good girl. That's it. Now, I'm done. The reason I'm done is I was really happy with the last one. 3 of them in a row. I let her get a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And if you notice, the last one, on purpose, I wouldn't let her get to the grass, the first 2. She got out 3 feet and I called her back to me. She got about 5 feet and I called her back to me. The last one I said, I'm going to see if she can do it. She got to the grass, she got a little distraction, her pace picked up, and I got on my whistle, and I really got on the tone. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. My tone got high enough to get her away from the distractions. Now, if I got that excited over every one of them, I don't know that I could have got her back off the grass. So you got to save a little in the tank. You can't give them everything tone-wise with stuff that they should know how to do. She should know how to recall on this blacktop. We've just done it 3 or 4 times with the lead. But as soon as it starts to get a little bit harder, I've saved that tone to make sure I get her through it. So that was perfect the way that worked out. So let me do this. I'm going to put her up. I'm going to spin this around. Let's see. Spin this around. You, come on. I'm going to load her up. I'm going to take out Ellie. If you guys know, have been following along with where we're at with Ellie. Ellie is going to be working on some hand signals. Get up. But to start out, I'll show you. To start out, I'll show you that heel stuff that I was talking about. It's a little easier to see it with her on how that back end leads the front. Come on. So now she hasn't gone to the bathroom, so she gets out. Go on, hurry up. I'm gonna let her do her thing. Go on, hurry up. So she's gonna go into the grass. She's gonna work through. This is actually a pretty nice place to train, this school. Come on, hurry up, hurry up. I'm gonna give her a chance to do this. I'm gonna scroll through if we had any questions. So when we're done with this, guys, the way we usually do this is I'll do some training stuff, and then we'll have a chance to answer some questions. Melissa joined in. Jay Lowry was in. Welcome, Jay. Wayne Pruitt from Tennessee. Nolan was in. Carrie's in from Door County. Charlie was in. Megan's in. Mike Schreiber was here. Welcome, guys. So I got her back. So she went to the bathroom. She did her thing. Sit. I reel her back in. Rachel is in, Melissa Stone is in, Melissa's going to be at the next workshop. Let's see, Van Beek joined in. All right. Now I'm going to do this. I want to show you, I'm going to do something very similar. Are the whistles in? They're not in yet, but they're en route. So as soon as they are, you're going to see me get on PicMonkey, and I'll make a fancy meme or whatever you call it and let you know. But heel. So I'm going to heel her off lead. Remember what I said? Our goal is to be off lead. So I might have to warm her up. I might have to warm up our connection, our feel. So I'll do this before I get going in any session. We're going to work on hand signals. First thing we're going to do is I'm going to work on connection. Because in order to be able to handle the dog at a distance, I got to be able to handle him right here. And in order to be able to handle him right here, I need good feel. And be able to handle him out there, I need excellent feel. Because there's so many more things in the way. So heel first. Heel. Heel. So for whatever reason, Ellie's really anticipating sits tonight. 2 times now, I've told her to heel. She sat, she was expecting to sit. So as me feeling this right now, I'm looking for the balance in it. So if she wants to sit every time steady, I'm not against it. I'm not punishing her for it, but I'm also going to keep her honest. I can't have her assuming stuff. So if she wants to sit and be steady, I'm going to make sure she heels. And I might stop like I normally would to put her on a steady and walk away, and I'm not. I'm going to heel her with me until she gets connected with me and coming with me and feeling me really well. Then I might get her to stop and have a remote sit. But Ellie, heel. Now what I want you to look at, this is that efficiency I'm talking about with her turn. 3 steps, boom, 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 she's there. Boom, 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 she's there. But watch how when she does a real efficient turn, her butt leads, her front follows. That's hard for these guys to do. See how good she's gotten at it though? She swings around so smooth. When you can get them to put their feet in the order that you want, and it's uncomfortable and awkward for them, when you can get them to do it right here, then I can get them to put their feet where I want them out there, which is the problem we were running with her with left and rights. Her feet weren't good. Her feet were going the wrong way when I was trying to handle her left every time. So I'm going to do it again. Good. Now, we'll start out tonight with backs. Back is something that we've done for weeks and weeks and weeks, months, before I ever cast her left or right. Now, one thing I picked up this weekend, I had a buddy of mine, Todd, was helping me out. One thing I picked up with him, and I'm going to work on it more, is with her to start out with, I've given her verbal. Get back, get out, get out. I'll still say get out on her rights and lefts because those are so new. But I've been starting, get back, get back, get back. I've been using that tone. Todd worked a dog with one of his dogs with me, and I really liked it, and it reminded me of he did it completely silent. He never said a word. It was all because the dog wasn't at a great distance, and so he didn't have to. But what I want to do is this is a comparable to the idea of pressure, a 10 or a 1 to get the result. 10 gets the result, so you have to find that. Well, 10 might be this, or it might be this, depending on where your dog is and how it's responding. But I've been working on verbal with her. Get back, get back, get back. Now, I don't holler get back, because at some point she might not do it, and I got to get back. I might have to change my tone. But I'm going to start working her on backs, silent. And I might, if she hesitates on it, I might give her a little get back, just slight. But I'm going to start to get to the point where that doesn't need to be verbal anymore, shouldn't. And so I'll save the verbal for when I really need it. Rights and lefts are new, so I'm going to give her everything until she gets good at it, forms the habit. Once she starts forming that habit, then I can back off on the verbal when it comes to the rights and lefts. So I'm going to do the same thing, heel. Now a little variation. This time I'm going to pull her to me and I'm going to push her back. So I'm going to get her to sit, stop to the whistle, pull her to me, push her back, heel. Just building off of it. Now for this, I start her out a little bit. I stop her on the whistle a little further out. Because remember, I'm looking at the next step. I'm going to call her to me before I send her back. So if I dropped her at the same spot, which is one line forward, and I recall her to me, I don't have any room left. So you got to think ahead to your next move. I know I'm going to call her. I'm going to do a pull-push. Pull her to me, push her back. So I dropped her an extra line out. Now I got a little bit of distance I can get her to me to stop her again and send her back. Hold, dude. Good. Now that one, she knows the drill. She was so hesitant to come to me, but I made her come. I made her come the whole line. I probably could have put her out a little bit further. Now this one I'm gonna add again to it. So this one I'm gonna heel her out, set it up as a trailing memory, drop the bumper, drop the dummy. Now the other thing that's interesting is twice now she's fumbled to pick this up. She's almost 2 years old, and the reason I'm using this is still to make sure that it's positive. She's not poking herself, jabbing herself, having a negative. She's still learning how to pick these things up and have them be confident. She's already picked up some hard horns, but on this asphalt, on this concrete, it makes noises, it jabs a lot harder. There's no give on this ground, so we're using the training dummy. Now, there's another dog over there, so here's another great distraction. We got a guy walking a dog over here. So I'm going to heel her out. Trailing memory set up this time instead of a marked pitched over her head. Heel her back, stop her on the whistle, just like I did before. Come back here. This time, because she's so hesitant to come to me, waiting for me to stop her and send her back, I'm calling her all the way to me. She's going to have to come all the way. And watch how I'll pick up my tone to get her to finish out. I had to do it on that one. Beep, 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 beep. And then finally she came. So I had to find the level that was going to get her to move. Got her to move. This time I'm having her come all the way to me, never stop, have her sit back down, send her on it, and then I'm going to stop her on the way out this time. It's another level. It's a little bit harder for her, but she's done it before. So I got to put this away. Don't carry these things around when you're working. Get them out of your hands. Heel. With a much better face. Good girl. Hold. 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 I'm trying to clean up her delivery too. It's something that was kind of exposed to me this weekend. She's got a mini victory lap. It's not big, it's not bad, but I didn't really notice it until this weekend. She always circles around me once. I'm trying to end that. So you'll notice me on retrieves from her coming back to me now, I get onto her a little bit, hold. And I actually step because she likes to come on this side of me, my left side. So I'll step to her and intercept her and make her stop. I'm going to start getting her to deliver cleaner to the front. So it's something I got to work on with her. So now, done with those. Sit. She's spooky around this thing. She's real spooky. Sit. I got to get her comfortable with it. Sit. Good. Good. Sit. Good. 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 So I'm just swinging this little tripod thing. She doesn't like it that much. This time I'm going to put you way out in the parking lot. We're going to send her on some lefts and some rights. Hopefully you can see this a little bit better. Alright, so now I can see, I kind of use a reference. I'm going to use this guy right there, the concrete thing. So that's going to be my center point, so I know you guys can see her. I'm going to always set her there in front of it. You should be able to see me too. So I'm going to go rights and lefts with her. Now, I want you to see, it's an extension. It's an extension all the time, this steadiness. So we're practicing all this all the time anyway. Hold. Good. You can see I'm starting to cut off that little victory lap. That's one to the left, one to the right, and she had her feet right. She took off the right way. She made the right turn. So look back 2 weeks ago, I couldn't get the dog to go this way. She'd spin the wrong way. She'd spin the wrong way. She'd spin the wrong way. So we worked on that, and now I've got her going left, right. So now we did it this weekend for the first time. I'm going bumper, bumper on both sides and making her understand that I'm going to dictate which one she's going to first. Heel. Good. No. Get up. Good. Very good. Very good. Hold. Hold. Good. Good. I don't know if you could see it. I hope you could. She got two lines over, and she actually, like, I said good. I was trying to reinforce the idea of you're going the right direction. As soon as she heard me say good, she spun around and tried to go back to the last one, to the other one. So I stopped her again, gave her another right cast. And I don't know if you could see it. I hope you could see it. Let me know if you could see that or not. Probably not, because it was just outside the frame. But she got out. I said good, and she spun around. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to repeat that. So I want to get that right. I want to get that right before I move on. Should be easier. Get up. Get out. Good. Very good. Did you see that one? Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh. Good. Dig. Two things. She did it again. I think you could see that one. So for whatever reason right now, that same little mental block where she was spinning the wrong way before, she's got a mental block right now. There's 2 bumpers out. Now this is the second time we've ever done this. Completely new spot. But there's 2 bumpers out. So she's going and then second guessing herself. And then I'm reminding her it's okay. So I'm going to build on that again. I want to get this right. And so the other thing that I really like was, you see the delivery? She came in really under control and gave me a nice delivery. So we're building on that at the same time. Good, very good. Good girl. Hold. Good. Good. That one we got. Now we're going to reset it. I'm going to do the same thing, but we're going left. Yep. Be really clear. My other hand is up. Get out. Good. Very good. Hold. Dig. Now this last one, I went and picked up myself because I want to reset this clean now. And the other thing that just gave her a nice little denial, she had to wait, I went and picked it up myself. Yep. Alright, we're going to go left, so I'm going to start out with the right. Now I'm going left. Get out. Get out. Good. Very good. Very good. Hold. Good. Good. Dig. Little bit of hesitation, not bad. I don't mind her hesitating though, because if she does it perfect every time, I don't know if it's just lucky or if she actually gets it. I know she didn't quite get it. She's a little confused. There's 2 bumpers out and I'm not 100% confident, but I think I know which way you want me to go. And by me praising her for it, giving it to her again to make her go, yep, I was right the first time, it's gonna help her get it right the second time. I want it to get smoother. I want to nail it this time. If she nails it this time, I'll move on. If she hesitates, I'm gonna do it again. Get up. Good, very good. Good girl. Hold. Hold. Did. Good. Now, the last thing I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to reinforce a back command. I'm going to do it differently. I've never done this with her before. I'm going to have bumpers out on both sides, and I'm pitching one up over the head. And I'm going to back cast her to that one. So now she just went right. She started out with backs, did good. She's been doing them a long time. I expect her to. Now she's going right, left, but she went right, 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 until she got right really good with a bumper to the left. Now she went left, left, left really good with a bumper on the right. So there was temptation there, but she cleared through it, made a couple little mistakes, got corrected for it. Now I'm going to put a bumper on each side, a bumper over the head, and I'm back casting her to the one to the back to end it. Then I'll pick up the other 2 as a nice denial to end it. But she's going to get a reward if she makes the right decision to go back, and back is a lot stronger right now than left and right. She should be able to do it. Yep. Now remember, there's a bumper on the right already. That one's faded, I think, in her mind. Here's a fresh one. Here's an even fresher one. That one's in the cover. Good, very good. I just gotta hunt a little cover. Good girl. Good. Very good. Hold. Hold. Good. And I'm ending it on that, so I'm real happy with that ending. Same thing I do with spry. Walk right past them. Walk right past them. You don't necessarily have to get them so excited. So let me see. Let me spin this around. Heel her back. Heel. Now she's really struggling because of this. So she's going to have to heel with me. Come on. Come on. Come here. Come on. Good girl. Very good. Here's something that she's real uncomfortable with. She's going to have to heel with it. And I'm going to make it a little easier. So I'm going to slow down when I move it around. I'm going to close it up. Make it a little smaller. So I just shrunk it up a little bit. So she's gonna have to heel on my left-hand side, which is normal for her. Good. Come on, come here. Come on, come on, heel. And I'm gonna hold this thing on my left-hand side. Very good. You can see her body language just changed. Heel. Come on, heel. Very good. Heel. All right, I'm gonna put her back up in the car, in the truck. Let's go back around here. She loads up when I let her load up. Move my stuff out of the way. Ellie. Okay. Let me sit down. I'm gonna put my bag away. Then we can now answer some questions if you got questions. If you're new to these, At the very end, I'm always have a little time to answer some questions. So, and I see there's one right there from Zach. So let me get in here. Let me check the time. That was a real nice session. Glad I got it in. 7:30. So basketball is going to be ending right now. Let me go through here. Wyatt Anderson's still going to send it. Thanks, Wyatt. We've got a bunch of people from the workshop that have inside lingo now, which I love. Let me not hit somebody on my way out here. Turns are a big problem in healing and still drifting to the side. That's Justin. Justin, your dog's really young. Patience, patience, patience. Takes a lot of repetition. Let's see. Brian Pingle had joined in. Welcome, Brian. Let's see. Been working with Thor. Oops, don't run over the grass. Pretty well most of the time, but occasionally he will end up laying down. So I've been walking with Thor, then I put him on a remote sit. If they lay down in a remote sit, I don't have an issue with it because it tells me they understand they're going to be there a while. They're just getting comfortable. But then there are times when he rolls on his back. What do you do when that happens? If he's on lead, I correct him and get him up. I don't reward that. What do you do when that happens? How do you get them back to the correct position and picking them up? So I do pick them up. I'll take the lead and I'll actually make a correction with it. How you doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
Good.
Thanks for bringing
No problem. No problem.
Until later.
Yeah, you bet. Then we've got, let's see, been working mainly on foundation. For some recall she isn't wanting to do, healing is getting a lot better. Again, just be patient, Justin. Practice that recall all the time and make it be positive at the ending. Been working on a heel. They're doing better than I thought they would. The dogs will surprise us. Why give praise before the dog has completed the retrieve? You send them as the dog is almost to the bumper, you say good, then the dog gets confused and hesitates. No, the dog got confused and hesitated a little bit when I sent the dog, so I say good to confirm the direction. So if I send a dog to the left and they go to the left, I want to say good so they understand that's where I'm supposed to be going. So you got to remember, this is very new to her. So she needs reinforcement of what she's doing the moment she's doing it. Dogs live in the present. If you don't correct or praise at the moment they're doing it, they don't understand what it's for. So I'm going to say good. Now, once I said good and she heard me and stopped. But then I corrected, sent her again, good. So she knows what good means. She knows what no means. It's a lot about tone. So when I send them in the right direction and they take it, I'm reaffirming the decision that they've made. Do you have any suggestions on getting a dog to load up? I can't get my dog to load up in the back of the Tahoe. Stephanie, how old's the dog? I don't want them, like I'm just to the point now, Ellie's almost 2 years old, and I'm just getting her comfortable. I need to teach her to load up into the back of the truck. She loads up in the back seat fine, but she won't jump up into the back of the truck. I don't let them do it until they're at least a year old. Too hard on their joints. Don't let them jump in, don't let them jump out. So when 8 months old, it's too young anyway. Don't let them jump up. You're gonna have issues. These dogs have big enough issues with their joints. Don't have 8-month-olds jumping up and down out of trucks or backs of Tahoes. You can see like getting into the seat where the back seat is. That's okay. It's not nearly as big, but that's a little bit young. So I'll show you, because I'm going to start teaching Ellie to load up in the back of the truck. I'm sick of carrying her. I've been picking her up and putting her in there, picking her up, putting her in there. So I need to get her confidence up to understand to jump up. My tailgate's a little too big to start out with. So I'll start with something smaller and load her up and praise her, and then load her up and praise her, and then I'll slowly add a little bit of height to it. When you took the dog from the girl fearing the ducks, you instantly had the dog. Why or how? Dan, you're referring back to the workshop. And we did a live when we had some ducks in a pen. And we had a pointing dog. Carol had a really, really nice dog, Greta, Dratar. And I don't know exactly why, but I think the dog was more than capable, and I don't know that Carol believed it. I don't think she did believe it. I know she didn't. We asked her. So when I took that dog, I believed he could do it. She could do it. I felt that she could do it. I think she sensed that right away. I also had a little bit of time with that dog before, on a little bit of heel work, and built a little bit. I think it's a lot about how you carry yourself. If you carry yourself really, dogs look for confident leaders, and when they see them, they'll follow. When they don't see them, they'll take advantage of people. So you'll notice when Carol took the lead, Greta just about broke a couple times. Why won't she break with me? Because I think she realized, well, he means it. I don't know that she really believed Carol meant it. And I think that's because when I asked Carol, do you think your dog can do it? She said, no, I don't. Well, dogs don't understand the words maybe, but they totally understand the feel involved with it. So that was one of my favorite parts of the weekend, by the way. Steadiness on the ducks and what we saw Greta be able to do. I think by seeing Greta, that Drahthaar, do what she did, I think it made a difference mentally with Carol more than it did anything else. And I can tell you right then, from then on, there was great improvement. There was improvement before that as well, but I saw great improvement from that point on. Place is getting better with your advice. Thanks. I got to get the aggressive biting. If I got the grab of the scruff of the neck, then the neck thing figured out. Place is already getting better with your advice. Thanks. So I think we probably went 0 tolerance, is what I'm guessing. We've done that with several people, and it seems to have been working. I've got to get the aggressive biting if I got to grab the scruff of the neck thing figured out. That is just that's one tool to do it. That's not the answer. That's one way of establishing yourself as not being a follower. You got to establish yourself as the leader. We had a meltdown with a little dog this weekend. Hank threw a little bit of a tantrum, jumped up, and he got aggressive with me. And I didn't really lose my cool. We got it in film, so that was good. But I didn't lose my cool, but I made sure Hank understood I wasn't going to tolerate it. I wasn't going to let him get away with it. And then once we kind of reeled him back in from his little toddler moment, I had his owner, Ron, who did a really nice job with that dog this weekend. I said, just take him away. He took him away 30 yards and made him sit by himself, kind of a little timeout. Disassociation was the punishment. We're not going to beat on that little dog. Dog was less than a year old. But we took him away from the group. That was punishment enough, I think. But you run into these little tantrums, you got to be very assertive with your corrections. No different than kids. You can't let kids be spoiled brats. So picked up a cow liver on Monday and got it cut into sections. Holy crap, I had no clue those things were bigger than my head. They are big. Was going to start working with Tiffin in our backyard, but it didn't work so well. Our yard is tiny, nothing but dirt, and dirt smells. So this weekend my son and I are going to be looking for somewhere. You don't need a lot of area. You saw what we did in a very small area with that pup, and we got to do some more now. So you're going to continue to see us doing that, April. But you don't need a ton of area. Grass is nice. Controlled area is nice, especially if you don't have control. But if you have control, I could have done it here. I could have done it in that green grass area at that school. I don't know if they'd have liked it or not, but I could have done it. So it doesn't take a lot. I've used to have a lab that was trained. Now I'm training my Chi Terrier mix. Would like to have her be a shed hunter. Nothing like having a well-trained dog. I taught mine by saying load them up every time I put her in the truck. Yep, repetition and consistency. Tell you what, we got some. Ron Herring, his ears must be burning. We were just talking about you, Ron. We had quite a mix of dogs this weekend. We had a Pointing Griffon that was awesome, a Drahthaar that was great. We had a what was our little terrier? Our little Jack Russell. Oh, talk about an impressive dog. Was this little Jack Russell Terrier? We had several labs. We had Spaniel, Springer Spaniel. Trying to think if we had anything else. We had just about every color there. We had a yellow, a chocolate, and a couple blacks. And we had dogs from anywhere from 5 months old to I think 3 years old was the oldest. So, boy, we had a good time. Steve said, any advice? Thanks in advance. I'm not sure exactly. I got a lot of advice. I don't know what it all applies to. What other media do you use for your videos? We do use Instagram, not the same way we use Facebook. I like Facebook because it saves them. So we use Facebook and YouTube. YouTube is going to become a spot where we mirror a lot of our Facebook videos. We're going to try and migrate them there. Then we'll also be doing some stuff that's a little bit bigger and longer for YouTube. But Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram are primary. I use Twitter a little bit. Our Twitter is linked to our Facebook. I don't understand Twitter, so we don't use it the right way. I don't understand it, so we have it linked to our Facebook, so it just kind of doubles up there. For shed hunting and training, open question there, Stephen. My recommendation, my advice is patience. First off, patience second, and patience third. Repetition and consistency. You got to do stuff over and over. You said it yourself there with loading up in the truck. The reason the dog understood it was because you did it every time. So you need to start doing the right things every time and cutting out the wrong things. My advice would be our Puppy Foundation DVD. I don't know how old your dog is. Puppy Foundation DVD. And if it's not a puppy, I don't care. The foundation is where it all starts. So unless you've got a great foundation, and when I mean great, I mean really, really good, that comes first. You have to have a foundation to build a house. You can have the prettiest house in the world, it will fall down if you don't have a foundation. So, let's see, Megan Smith joined in. Very late, had a dance practice for the little one. We'll start at the beginning. Yeah, it was a good one, Jamie. Things went well. Dogs did well. Made a little bit of corrections needed, and we gained something out of tonight's work. And I want to remind you guys, we did everything tonight while I was waiting for my son's basketball practice. Don't give me excuses that you can't figure out how to get training in because you're running the kids, because you're doing this, because everyone has busy lives. We all are busy. Everyone has an excuse. Oh, you're a dog trainer. The only training I had today was after leaving our workshop, dropping my son off for practice, and doing work in the parking lot. So figure it out. I'm going to challenge every one of you. Figure it out. Be creative. Let's see, any other questions? 2.5 years old, start in the beginning, Stephen. And the nice part is you'll go a lot faster because you probably have good foundational stuff. The problem is you're going to find the holes. You follow along with our shed training. Our shed training kit walks you through the process, but if you don't have the foundation, you can't do it, and it will expose you. You will find out what you don't do well, because if you can't heel very well, you can't do the drills I want you to do. So you try to do these drills like this weekend when we were trying to do hunt command drills, and we couldn't get dogs to recall. The problem is the hunt command drills don't matter because all we did was struggle on recall. Got to get recall fixed first. All right, I got to wrap up. My kids are coming. All right, guys, you guys have a great night. We'll talk with you soon. The ball players are here.